Good evening, my lords and my ladies. I wanted to take a moment and talk about some of the different yarn types that I use because I wanted to give some props to this loops and threads yarn from Michaels. So first of all, let's start, I guess, at the beginning with acrylic yarn. This is the basic acrylic yarn that I get from Walmart, Red Heart. Everybody should know about Red Heart. That's so popular. There is another cheaper brand at Walmart that I'll get to if I get the right colors. But Red Heart has really good dyes, and they're really good about having that tail, or the belly button. It's really hard to find. So the acrylic is what I use for my ropes, and we spin those in those cakes you've seen us make. I've got cakes floating all over the place. There's a cake right there with some pink sparkly yarn. And so these guys are going to get all caked before I put them away on our cake spinner. So acrylic, yeah, I use for the ropes, and I've been using this new acrylic that is, Yarn Bee, that is acrylic and hemp. So all of that white speckle in there is hemp to give it a natural fiber feel, but it still has a smoothness and easiness to weave. So I can say that I've really started to enjoy this. My last Dublin Dragon belt I made with acrylic and hemp. But most of the time I don't use acrylic for belts. I think I have one left. I like to have the natural fibers of wool. Here's my wool. And I get my wool from New Zealand through Alibaba. And it takes 6 weeks for me to get it. But the dyeing is just really good colors. And the weight is good. These are 500 grams. And that's 100% wool. And I've done the burn test just to make sure. I've had a lot of people say double check it to make sure that it's real. But there's still little twigs and things in here. I'm weaving, and it's neat to be able to pull out hay and twigs. But if you burn it, if it's acrylic, it'll melt and have like a hard piece of plastic on the end. Where wool, when you burn it, it turns to powder and it just leaves a little bit of ash. Okay, so this is the first, this last weekend was the first time I ran out of purple of my caked Red Heart. So I used the purple from Michaels right here. I pulled this guy out, and when we spun it, we made a hand fasting cord for a 20-year anniversary. And what I noticed was the feel. This one, you can see the fibers are nice and kind of snug together. This one has a different softness to it. It actually feels, I don't know if floofier is the right word, but there is a different texture to this acrylic yarn. It doesn't feel as plasticky, but it is 100% acrylic. Of course, I'm looking for there's the size right there, acrylic, but it's soft. Maybe that's what it is right there with this soft classic. That's maybe what I'm getting the feel on. Normally with the baby soft yarn, it's thinner. This does really good at keeping that size 4, the worsted weight. But it is softer. So I've really been enjoying this one. That rope came out really nice. And okay, so acrylics, I wanted to really tout that. Michaels, this is their cheapest. That's their kind of in brand, which was cheaper than the Red Heart. And I did sign up for their credit card, so I got another 20% off. And of course, with the Christmas sales, I got another 20% off. So this yarn came in almost half price. So woohoo! Of course, Anytime anything's half off, that just means you get to buy twice as much, right? That's how that works. You can see I've got a board there, just finished printing. That's what it looks like before the clear coat is on, and then you can kind of see it darkens a little bit and it's more shiny when you have the clear coat on it. But that one just came off the burner. So the next yarn that I use is cotton. There's a peaches and cream, which is like the Walmart. And then, of course, this one is Michael's brand. Same thing, loops and threads, 100% cotton. And this was a really good price, and they had really good, vibrant colors to choose from. That's half of it. I had to get a lot of black. I always like doing got some grays in there, a light color and a dark color mix. So these are going to be for the heddle belts. That's what I use the cotton for. And then I use the wool for the tablet woven belts. This is the one I'm working on right now, the black with the brown fleur-de-lis. And let me take a moment here. Let me talk about this belt, because one of the neat things about tablet belts is usually one side of the belt looks like the design it's supposed to be. This is actually the back. That's the front. So these arrows look like they're pointing up, and then you'll see the opposite backside, they're pointing down. Normally, when you have like my flame pattern or my dragons, where the shape is big on the backside, where if you get a slant of yarn this way, on the backside it's the opposite direction. So usually on the backside of the dragon, it's just a mess of angles that don't look right because they don't line up with the pattern on the front. But this pattern is so small that when you do these backwards, they line up exactly the opposite. I am really enjoying this pattern and being able to have it double-sided and have something a little different. I've been doing that double chevron pattern for the longest time, and so it's nice to have a little break with that one. So this one I'm almost halfway done there, coming around the back peg. And then here's, of course, my tension. And I keep pushing that up. And then I think I'm going backwards right now, so it's eating this tension. And then I'll swap it one more time. So I'm really enjoying that belt. I'm enjoying that pattern. And then the last thing that we do is all of our game bags, we have a rope that goes into the bag. Well, we make those ourselves with cotton. And while I was doing my history, one of the neat things that I learned is that through history, rope makers would mark their ropes. And they had each rope walk had its own mark of color and numbers on the strands. So I have gold cotton, and I put one strand of gold on one hook. So you can see that one and that one are just full white. But then the third strand, there's one strand of gold. Two empty, the third one has one strand of gold. So if you're out and about and you ever run into a rope, whether it's cotton or even the jute ropes that I make, I put one gold strand on our ropes to identify them from Gifford's Rope Walk. So we make our ropes for everything, for the bags, with our marker, cotton for the belts, wool for the belts, some acrylic for the belts if it's requested, or this new hemp stuff, I'm loving that. But the acrylic is mostly for the ropes, and I'm really loving this super soft stuff. Though it feels so nice, but it has the right thickness. It doesn't get thinner like normal baby yarn. So I just wanted to talk about our different styles of yarns that we use and give up some props. Thank you, Michaels, for having a great sale. They're kind of far away, so I'll have to do ordering from shipping, which, oh darn, I'll have to order more so I get the free shipping. So I just wanted to show you the different styles of yarns and ask for you guys' opinions. What kind of yarns do you think? Oh, the one thing I didn't talk about with the wool that I use. There's a lot of really super soft wool, merinos, and super wash wool. I wanted the belts that I use to have a really stiff feel to them, so that they could hold up to actually being a belt. You can put bags on them or knives on them or your canteens on them. I wanted them to have, I mean, they're still flexible, but I wanted them to have some strength when they're woven together. So what I use is called tufting wool. This wool was, it's left rough. Just like you saw those little pieces of grass and hay that are in there. This is not soft wool, but it's very sturdy, and the color stay in it is really, really good. It was made to use as a tufting gun and for a rug. So you'd have a gun that would shoot the yarn through fabric and then cut it, and so you'd have a shag carpet, and you could do different designs. So that's what this particular wool. If you look on Alibaba for tufting yarn, if you wanted to see the kind of yarn that we use for the tablet weaving belts. So those are our yarns. Let me know what you think. If you know of another place to get yarn, I would love to buy my yarn locally in the US. I found a couple places so far, but they're very limited and their prices are extremely, extremely high. If they were a little lower, it might be more possible, but at the moment I can get this, even pay the tariff and the shipping and everything, and it's still half the price of the US wool. But I would love to get it. Cotton, if you guys know any place to get some cotton, or if you know a different acrylic, let me know what you think. Or if you haven't tried this out and you want to get a soft one but still get the same thickness, give Michael's a try. So thanks for watching, folks, and we got one more week going to Gladewater, Texas. We'll be out there for the winter solstice, where they're going to light the Yule goat on December 21st. So I do wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy Yuletide, and we'll catch you guys at the next one.